The United States has been taken advantage of for 40 years. We're committed to NATO, but NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize because they are in for far less than we're in.
Buckle up, because the world is about to witness a seismic shift, a move so bold, so controversial, that it could redefine global alliances and throw the delicate balance of power into chaos. Tonight, we ask the unthinkable. Is the United States on the brink of pulling out of NATO? The storm has been brewing for years, but now it's dangerously close to a breaking point. Donald Trump, the man who once threatened to let Russia do whatever the hell they want to NATO allies not paying their dues, is again at the center of this geopolitical earthquake. His supporters, his inner circle, even powerful figures like Elon Musk, are rallying behind a radical idea. Quit NATO, quit the UN, quit the World Bank and the IMF, and the timing couldn't be more critical. Just last week, the Oval Office clash with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky added fuel to the fire. Trump's America First base is now more vocal than ever, pushing for the U.S. to abandon global institutions they claim are bleeding America dry. They argue the U.S. has become the world's piggy bank, bankrolling NATO, pouring billions into Ukraine's war effort, and propping up global bodies like the UN, all while the U.S. itself drowns in $35 trillion of debt. But the question is, what happens next? Trump's cryptic message on his social platform sent shockwaves through Washington. Tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. A direct warning ahead of his address to the joint session of Congress. A Congress where his party holds the majority and Democrats are too divided to form a solid front. Republican Senator Mike Lee has already broken ranks, branding NATO a Cold War relic that benefits Europe far more than the U.S. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a fierce Trump loyalist, has openly called for a U.S. exit from NATO. And now conservative commentators like Candace Owens are backing the narrative that NATO is not a protector, but a warmonger, dragging America into unnecessary wars. The MAGA base insists, why should the U.S. risk a nuclear showdown with Russia over European borders? But here's the brutal reality. If Trump announces a NATO withdrawal at the joint Congress hearing, it will send shockwaves across the globe. What does this mean for America's national security? Would a NATO exit embolden Russia, giving Vladimir Putin a free hand in Ukraine and beyond? Would European nations scramble to build their own defense alliances? Or would they cave to Moscow's pressure? And most importantly, would this mark a new era where the U.S. dictates global alliances on its own terms? Let's be clear. Article 5 of NATO states, an attack on one member is an attack on all. It was only ever invoked once, after 9/11s, when NATO stood behind the U.S. But with Trump pushing for members to spend 5% of their GDP on defense, far above the 2% goal, is he setting the stage for an era of accountability? The world is watching. Allies are on edge. Russia is waiting. If Trump pulls the trigger, the U.S. may not just be stepping away from NATO, it could be stepping into a new era of bold, uncompromising leadership. So we ask again, is America about to abandon NATO? And if it does, is the world ready for the fallout?